A couple of years ago, I tried and failed to do the 100-day project. I found this cute little book at the charity shop and thought that it would be perfect to turn into a altered book. Whilst that didn't happen, I've really enjoyed the process of slowly creating within this little altered book. And to be honest with you, the reason that I haven't finished this yet is I think because I don't want it to be finished. I've loved working in this so much and trying different things that I almost don't want it to end. And I know that's silly because there will be another altered book that I can work in. So I decided I'm going to tackle the rest of these pages within the book. So this was my first proper altered book in terms of working in it, figuring out how I prepped the pages. I definitely didn't do this how you're supposed to do this. I've just created in it as I've gone and taken out some pages when it's got bulky and glued other pages together when I felt like I needed thicker pages. So what I'm deciding to do here is take the remaining section of the pages within this book and I am just prepping them ready. So I'm using some masking tape and also some glue, removing pages as well, and sorting out the base of the pages that I've got left so I can see how many pages I've got left to work in. So by the time I've prepped all of these pages, I actually have 9 spreads left within this journal, which is really nice to know that I've got those pages now ready to work on. So in this video, what I'm doing is we're prepping some backgrounds. So I don't want to call it mass making in a way, but it kind of is. I'm sort of batch creating some backgrounds and I just wanted to get something down on each of the pages just to get me started, because I think that that's why I love junk journaling so much, is you always have those random papers that are already in the book ready to respond to. So I wanted to put something on the pages so that I have something ready to respond to. So I'm using a mix of different papers here, both for colour and also for just overall texture, I suppose, on the page. So this is just some packaging tissue paper that I had, and I figured that this might be nice just to sort of add a bit of a ghosting effect and gently push back some of the text that's on the book pages, because obviously that's the whole premise of working in an altered book, is that you do see the text and, in this case, the images and whatever else is on the book page. So I just thought that this would be a nice layer to add to the page just for some interest as well. And then I just grabbed a selection of different papers. So I have some old book papers in a few different tones. I have some brown paper, just random scraps. I even added some masking tape in places just because I had it out already on my desk from prepping the pages, and I really like the way that that looks too. I don't know if it's the colour or the texture of the masking tape, but I think that will be really interesting to work on top of, and it just adds quite a subtle contrast to the other types of papers. And so what I did when I was collaging on these backgrounds is that I didn't cover up the entirety of the book pages. I did want some of that still to peek through, and I think that it will also give me a bit more space to decide what I actually want to do with the pages, because I don't want all 9 of these pages necessarily to look identical. I do want them to look cohesive and they go together, but I just think that having a little bit of something on each of the pages will just give me that jumping off point, and then I can decide whether I want to, add layers of paint. Do I want to cover it up entirely? I might come to one of these pages and just think, do you know what? I'm actually going to stick a big piece of brown paper over this page. I'm not precious necessarily about what will survive to the finished result. I just want that base, and I really enjoyed just prepping these pages without the pressure of thinking about what the end result was, because I don't know if it's just because I've come off the back of the Junk Journal January, creating daily pages start to finish, but it was really nice to sort of shift up my process and just focus on one step. So just focusing on the backgrounds and just like laying the collage papers down and just thinking about like the different colors. Well, I say colors, like the neutral tones, you know what I mean? But just thinking about like the real basics, I suppose, of getting started with these altered book pages. And it's really interesting when I have looked through this entire book, because obviously I've been working in this now for like 2 years. So there's a real shift, I think, in how I was working in this book, how I was approaching the different things I wanted to include. Like I was a lot more just like simple collage and letting the book page itself do a lot of the talking, whereas I don't know whether I just got like braver with like covering things up and introducing more paint and that sort of mixed media vibe in a way, but not too much that it overtakes the page. But there is a page in this book that is very bright, like pinky orange, because I did some jelly printing. Not my favorite page, but I've also seen this book as a nice way to play and experiment as well when I've been working in it. So I didn't feel too worried about doing that sort of thing within this book, but I'm excited to work on the rest of these pages and see what I might create in these. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to necessarily work in all of these like 9 pages all at once for the rest of the process, if you see what I mean. Like I'm probably gonna now tackle them one by one, but I just think for getting this background down and for sort of kickstarting that like finishing process of this, like I just needed to prep the pages, I needed to get the background sorted, and then that just gives me that more like normal journal experience in terms of like just having these are the pages that I'm going to be working in. And obviously the pages that I ripped out of the book so that it didn't get too chunky, I can either use those within my other journals, or I might use some of the imagery within the pages, like include it back in. But that's really nice to have that opportunity to have some extra collage material as well. I'm not short of that, but it's definitely a nice bonus from prepping this book is that I've also got a pile of those papers as well, because I really like the illustrations within these little books. And I don't know, I think I just really like the way that the cover of this one is so simple. Like when I did it originally, I just included a fussy cut flower on the front, and I really love the way that that looks. And so I think that that's kind of what draws me into working in this book, is that I've created a nice cover, kept it really simple and not too involved. So that's definitely something I think that I will take into other altered book projects that I do, because when I finish this one, I think I've mentioned in previous videos, like I definitely want to do another one that's this size and work in that as well. And I have actually been thinking about those older pages and whether I want to go back to them and maybe add things or change things up, but I'm not sure, because I kind of like the way that the altered book sort of evolves. But there are a few pages in this that I think just need something a bit extra, because they almost don't match everything else that I've got going on. So I might end up going back to them and not necessarily covering them up or changing them too much, but just bringing them more in line with the rest of the book, because I still want to almost like honor where this book started, because it did start with a slightly different art style. And I just think there's a few areas that have a lot more like negative space that doesn't necessarily go with the rest of the pages within this book. Like this has become such a like collage-y and just full of different things. Like I think that's what I really like about this, is that I did a lot of like mark making and just sort of throwing everything at it and not being afraid to see what might happen, because I just felt like there was not as much pressure because it was in an old book, so I couldn't like ruin a new journal, if you see what I mean. Like, you know, when you buy like a fresh blank sketchbook or journal or notebook and you have that pressure of like quote unquote spoiling it, like I feel like you can't do that when you're literally just using like a secondhand book that would otherwise probably end up in landfill. Like there's so many old books that you can pick up. So if you are looking to do an altered book, like I definitely recommend it. I've really enjoyed the process of doing this one, and it's definitely something that I'm going to continue, I think, to create in these little altered books. So I did some stamping across all of the pages as well, just with I think this has become like my favorite little text stamp if you've seen me using this in videos before. I just really love the way that it looks. I definitely need to see if I can find some more text stamps like this just to have that effect, but I don't mind reusing this one because it's only small and I use it in like certain areas, and I just really love the way that it looks. So yeah, I just used it sort of sideways as well here, and also doing a bit of like ghost stamping with the sort of second and third sort of press of the stamp, so you get that like fainter image on the page as well. And so yeah, just added a little bit of interest. So I didn't want to completely overwhelm the pages, but it just added something, especially when it was like over the top of some of the collage papers and where they sort of met the book page. And then something that I've been doing in this altered book throughout is that I have been rounding the corners just with a corner rounder here. And I really love the way that this sort of gives it a bit more of like a polished look almost. Like it helps to just finish off some of the pages. So I figured that I would go ahead and corner round these pages now that they are prepped and ready to use within this book. And it's just so satisfying to see all of the pages that now have the corner rounding. Like it's so subtle, but it really does, I think, make quite a difference on like the overall look of the pages. I think especially in this context here where you've got the altered book and you can see it there, the backgrounds that I have prepped for working on in the altered book. And for some reason I just started doing a bit of a backwards flip through here. So you can see here, this is the sort of pages that I have within this book. Not all of them are finished. There was one there that's just a background, so there's opportunity to go back into those as well. But you can see as it gets towards the beginning, like it's a lot more simple and just collage. So let me know, do you think I should work in some of those pages or not? Let me know in the comments, because I'm sort of in two minds about it, but I really love the way that this book has turned out, so chunky. And I also added some washi tape to these pages. So I got some new washi tape from my favourite brand. You'll hear me mention them all the time, Note and Wish, and they had some like plain neutral washi tapes, so I decided to add some of those to the pages. This one here is actually by Job's Journal. I don't think he sells these anymore, and I will be very sad when that washi tape runs out because I love it so much. And so I decided that it needed a spot within this altered book. But yeah, I just added some like really plain washi tapes just on the like overlapping edges of some of the papers. Kind of added a little bit of warmth to the pages, a little bit of colour, but yeah, not too much that it would overwhelm, but just something to add to the background. And I made sure to vary the tapes that I was using across the pages as well, so I think that that will be really interesting as another element to respond to on the pages, because I used some slightly different colours and also some patterns. So I'm just hoping that these little like snippets, these collage papers, etc., will hopefully spark some inspiration when it comes to working on these pages. I think this last page here, where you've got the end paper that's so like aged, I'm really looking forward to working on that one, but I think I will definitely save that one for last and work on that page at the end. But the other pages, I don't know, I might not go in order. I might just sort of open my journal and see which pages I want to work on in the altered book and just create from there. So I hope you enjoyed joining me for this sort of like prepping and getting the backgrounds ready for these altered book pages. I'm really looking forward to finishing off these pages. I was very tempted to invite you to almost like a finish it February sort of thing, but I didn't want to overcommit given how busy Junk Journal January gets. But if you have unfinished projects too, then maybe finish it February might be something you might want to join me for. So I'm going to be working in this altered book. So as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.